A little bit.
You always should be preparing to improvise because your lines should be kind of coming out as though they're improvised, do you know what I mean? So you kind of need to be, especially with this play, you have to be constantly, Gertrude especially, you have to always be on every single moment, because if you just relax for one second and go, you look at that light, you go, I have no idea what's coming next, because there's a quick change coming up, or there's a music cue or something that you miss, so.
Yeah, but it's a very technically demanding show, just getting to the right spot with the right prop and the right costuming, getting on stage, it kind of has its own difficulties. So sometimes if we don't quite get there in time or whatever, then you do have to improvise to kind of cover that.
Yeah, and you got to listen to each other and help each other out, because if you see another actor in trouble, it's so important to have that skill to be able to fish them out of the hole and get the whole play back on track.
And were you looking at me?
I think initially in the development of the projections, they were playing with a few different ideas. I mean, we realised that we had the blinds to kind of use. Initially, it was a kind of more literal thing we were talking about, using pictures of a street or whatever to put on the projection. But I think eventually what they settled on was something a little bit more abstract. So they just used like images of clouds in the sky as kind of this location for we're outside and all that sort of thing. And then it kind of shifts throughout the show, and the Martin scenes obviously have a different kind of aesthetic and colour to them. And they kind of distort throughout the show as well as kind of the mood shifts. But initially it was just kind of giving this space a bit of a setting. So once we move inside, it's more lighting, and using the projections kind of gives it an outside setting a little bit more. In the Hungary scenes, the projector is more just to add extra light as opposed to actually kind of have anything in it. But yeah.
We've had some really interesting interpretations of that, which is really cool. That you took that from it as fantastic, but some other people thought it represented cancer and cancer cells. It's meant to be obscure, so it's great.
My answer is no. Normally you do like your character. You have to. No matter how awful I am or whatever.
I don't think any person ever sees themselves as bad, though. Do you know what I mean? I don't think any person in the real world thinks that they're an awful person. So when you come to a character, you can't dislike your character, otherwise you're not going to be able to portray them honestly.
I think there's things the character dislikes about the character often, but I think you have to go and be this character so often, and we're doing 2 shows a day, you have to love them and enjoy playing them, and justify why they do the things they do. You can't judge your character. It's not very helpful.
Didn't you see the name tag?
I think in this production specifically as well, there's lots of different accents. The costumes were quite specific, even like with Yvonne having the headscarf and the coat, as opposed to her other characters, which aren't like that. It's kind of, yeah. But it's also developing characterization within the rehearsal period that you just start to create differences between them. It takes a while, but you eventually get there and you start to figure out what each character is and how they speak and what they do and how they act physically.
Big choices, I think. Just in terms of the repertoire, just makes. I reckon you just make big choices. Oh well, this. You probably have noticed that. This person, I imagine this person will walk this way. This person has these kinds of gestures.
And also simply the way the other characters on the stage react to your character. Hopefully that.
And off stage.
And it's quite an ensemble piece about a world that's very disjointed, and the fact that you're working closely together gives a piece of energy, and so your character is just serving the story, so it's about delivering that story and stepping in to tell this bit, or that bit, or that bit, and so it's keeping in touch with the story that's being told that in the end helps me define which character